Good day and welcome to Chapter 3. I would like to highlight some of the important content of this chapter. Remember, this is just an overview and it does not take the place of reading the chapter. We're going to start today by talking about fair pay. The first laws prohibiting discrimination in the workplace go back all the way to 1941. In 1961, the Equal Pay Act was established that prohibited discrimination on the basis of gender for men and women doing equal jobs. And of course, we're all familiar with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that protects all citizens from discrimination based on gender, among many other reasons. Now, how are we doing today? Although the gender gap in pay has improved, women still make on average 88 cents for every dollar a man makes. So putting that in realistic terms, a woman in the same position as a man would have to work all year and then until March 31st of the following year to make the same salary. Now, not every case where a man makes more than a woman in the same position is illegal. Those are called compensable factors, and they're legally defensible. That would be differences in education, previous experience, credentials, and performance. Those would be legally defensible reasons. Now let's talk about EEO, Equal Employment Opportunity. EEO prohibits discrimination in any term and condition of employment. The chapter also talks about affirmative action. That's a proactive process whereby individuals are hired on the basis of protected class. You may ask, what are the protected classes? Well, those would include age, sex, race, color, religion, national origin, immigration, status, and disability. Those are the protected classes. Now, in Chapter 3, Section 3.3 is listed many types of discrimination. Please read over those and pay close attention to retaliation. Now, believe it or not, age discrimination, pregnancy discrimination, and discrimination against those with disabilities still occur in the workplace today. Let's specifically look at the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now that includes employees and potential employees, such as someone that may need an accommodation for an interview. You are required to provide it given the accommodation was made known to you. So what happens is it requires a reasonable accommodation for the employee to be able to successfully do their job. After the employee provides medical documentation, an interactive process meeting is scheduled. Now, that is a meeting where someone from HR, the employee, and their supervisor meet and discuss what the company can do so that the employee can perform their essential job functions. We look at reasonable accommodations. Now, the key word there is reasonable. For example, if you work at a small company of 70 employees and the employee says, I can't be around direct sunlight, can you build an office basement for me? Well, that would not be a reasonable accommodation. In fact, an accommodation cannot cause an undue hardship on the employer. Now, some of the examples of reasonable accommodations, I had an employee that would get migraines from the fluorescent lights. So we found covers that took away the sharpness, and then the employee was able to do their job. Also had an employee with arthritis. We were able to provide talk-to-type software for that employee. Now let's look at some of the different sexual harassment types or also hostile work environment. Sexual harassment, quid pro quo, is when a supervisor offers a promotion, a pay raise, etc., for a sexual favor. Hostile work environment is where the environment is severe and pervasive with inappropriate language, sexual jokes, ridicule, maybe even physical threats. It's an environment where an employee would feel abused and intimidated. So the best way to prevent those things from happening is to require mandatory sexual harassment training for all employees. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day.